Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mushoku Tensei, a jobless reincarnation. Tonight we're on episode 1 of season 2. So, what had happened on the last episode? That's a great question. Last episode was our episode 0, Sylphie, Scratch That Fits reintroduction. She basically fell out of the sky, Goomba stomped a boar to death, became the bodyguard for Princess, what is her name? Princess Ariel. And then we saw a bunch of politics stuff happen. I'll get to that in a minute. And then that's basically the important thing is at the end they left to go somewhere else. I'm guessing top left of the map, like across that mountain range, because it was all blizzardy and coldy, and they were going ooh burr burr. But yeah, so they left and went off to do their thing, because they had to leave because they got assassin attempts on them. So it was like we got to get out of Dodge. So that's the short of it. What had happened on the last comment section is what we'll go on to next. So boom, let me get that up. Obviously, well, let me say real quick. Obviously, I'm in a new location, okay? I don't know where I am, but it's looking real nice. But yeah, so you're not going crazy. This is a new spot. So yeah. Though, let's do a little bit of a comments pass. I'm not necessarily going to do this for every episode if you're just dropping in. I try to read every episode's comments and like talk about most of them, but maybe I just want to catch up, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the episodes to release and comments to drop if I'm trying to, get caught up to season 2. You know how it goes. But yeah, okay. Enough yapping. Let's yap in a different way. Let's yap here. So, one of the big things, this is actually pogged, okay? The like breakdown of the little the like political moves. Political moves are so sick, but they're so hard to follow, but that's like what makes them so sick, Where everyone's speaking in code and like talking about berries and accusing people, but doing it like with the social rules in place. So just this entire breakdown I really liked, and kind of cleared it up for me even. Another big thing is Pillimon. Pillimon's important. Another comment, or a couple comments were saying this. Pillimon is literally, the funny thing is I have Pillimon in my notes, but I just didn't at all recognize his name when it was said, right? But he was here, under my nose the entire time. But yeah, so he's Paul's younger brother, head of the Notos family. We've talked about him before. A couple of comments were, yeah, like this kind of thing. Pillimon, or is it Philemon or Pillimon? I think it's Pillimon. I don't know. Point being, though, his big events is trying to get Eris as the concubine, and then also being the target of, I think, Philip. When we were back in episode 8, we were like, let's get Rudy as a political move. They were trying to like replace Pillimon, right? And he's also Luke's father. So that went over my head. Now it's in my head, so that's really good. It being Luke's father is kind of crazy as well. Though low-key, for being Paul's brother, he does not look like Paul. He's not roguishly handsome. He just is an old dude that was acquiescing to Grabel. Right? Grabel was saying, hey, Princess Ariel and Pillimon, what y'all talking about? And then Pillimon was like, oh, I'll give you my berry, sire. Like, I was expecting Pillimon to be a bit of a beast, But, hey, maybe he's a little bit of a rat, okay? Fitting for a gray rat, right? Gray, just one of the comments, gray rat derogatory. Literally. Listen, there's some good in the gray rats, but there's also some not good in the gray rats. But that's how people function most of the time. Except for me, I'm perfect in every way. It's real. It's not real. Okay, focus! So yeah, really liked that. I love politics being cutthroat, looking goofy, smoke and mirrors, that kind of stuff. This was an interesting take that I thought there was another comment as well that kind of went into it, of Rudius's age and how that plays into the elements of change in the story. Because at one point I was like, if it's a story about change, in the last episode, I was like, if this is a story about change, then why would we have, use his age as an excuse? Because that's that's what I pretty much said, right? And this perspective I thought was interesting, where we can either see it as, a second coming of age, or a second chance at it because the first one failed, which is interesting. It's that almost to me feels counterintuitive to a coming of age, where it's we get to just hit the reset button, but that is kind of the point, I guess. It's just, it's an odd concept, but I like that interpretation for sure. That's an interesting idea. And then also we could maybe see Rudius's growth being even more of a positive thing, because he's also having to fight against hormonal body stuff, right? With having the kid body. To what degree he is burdened by the kid body is always been kind of vague to me, because it's crazy. You can, and I've said this a million times, so I'm gonna say it 1,000,001 times, of just we can take a thing he does, such as talking to Orsted the dragon god and fumbling that. We can take that as either, oh, this is his child naivety, or, oh, this is his lack of, like, social development and ability to understand social cues, which are very, very different. Or maybe just a mix of both, right? But we're kind of just left guessing a little bit of, like, which way it kind of goes. It's just, man, I hear these and I like the ideas. It's just, it distances. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, what I'm about to say, but it further distances the gap between the audience and Rudy, right? Where, guess what? This a second coming of age, or the battle with an underdeveloped brain and raging hormones, but with the experiences of an adult. Like, these are things that, like, don't at all. These aren't things that people deal with, you know? Like it's not like this is my third life and I've respawned again and I'm getting to, like, grow up again. Like, that's not a thing, right? And I know it's like the crux, I mean, it's like, it's a reincarnation show. Like, I get that. So it's not even necessarily a bad thing. It just, it distances the show from the audience in a sense, from, like, for applicability's sake, right? Where, like, the audience can't necessarily apply the show or, like, Rudy's character to themselves as much because the situation is so different, you know? But that doesn't mean that you can't be inspired by the tale, right? So yeah, let me just go back to the top so I don't get lost. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Got me thinking. Appreciate, there's a storm of controversy this season. Oh boy. Appreciate the niceties, though, I really do. Oh, thank you, Zingra. Thank you. This was an interesting idea of how, like, Sylphie, with what's her name, Night-Eyed Hawk, the assassin, that, like, we maybe could have heard her walking up. I rewatched the scene. I think the sound might be them adjusting in bed, and I can pull it up again. But to your point, when we see an establishing shot of the bed that Sylphie's in, and we don't see Night-Eyed Hawk, like, anywhere, and then we play, like, 15 seconds forward and she's right there. So either we just didn't see her because she's that sneaky with it, or she kind of just walked up. But the kind of thing I was getting at, I think, still does stand of, like, she had them, like if she was a true Giga assassin, she wouldn't be standing there for a couple seconds, right? She would just do the job and get out, because every second you're there is a second something can go wrong, you know? So I do wonder if there is still an element of what I was going over there, though it would be a smaller influence than I would have expected because of her not being there for that long. But man, imagine, dude, I just think it's so sick. Imagine waking up and there's an assassin and they've been there for, like, an hour and a half. Like that's insane to me. That's like conceptually so cool to me. But yeah, okay, so the show can't hurt me anymore. It can't hurt me anymore. Copium. I think, is this the one we read? We read an Eris POV in the big bridge episode between season 1 and season 2. If it's a different one, I'd be open to reading more. So people can follow up on that. So this comment here says, one of the things that Rudy has to learn and the audience wants to portray is that motivations for sex aren't just the two binaries that Japanese media normally depicts them as. It is not just a sacred rite of procreating, nor just a lustful act of hedonistic pleasure. It means a lot more things to more people. I think that's fair, right? Like, it means something different for everyone, right? Which is why communication is so important, so that you can get on a similar wavelength before you hoe yourself. Whoa. But yeah, and then, so like, agreed, and I like that. Like, I like this idea of, like, let's kind of flesh out the idea more, right? Or, like, a show trying to flesh out that idea. I think that's something valuable a show can try to do. This point of, like, Rudy's consequence for having sex before his and Eris's relationship has progressed doesn't have to be that he traumatized as a child. Eris can be fine, and them having sex at that time can still be wrong. It's just, if that, like, the crazy thing is, like, it depends on, like, why is it wrong, right? Because that's something I've been trying to, like, and I know we're talking about this again. I'm just, we'll lightly touch the subject just to reply to people. Eris can be fine, and them having sex at the time can still be wrong. It's like, but, like, then how is it wrong? You know? And I'm not saying that it's right, because Eris is seemingly on some level maybe okay, though it's very debatable if she's okay because of a lot of reasons, with her being, you know, so attached to Rudy and like, not possessive, but, like, I don't know, what's the word? Like, codependent or whatnot. Like, so focused on Rudy without, like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But it's like if we don't look at that, then if she just walks out of it smiling and she had to some degree like she had well, it's like I was about to say she had given consent, but like I have it hardwired in my brain that like she's 15 so she can't give consent, but like she wanted it to happen. Let's just say that. So like why is it wrong? You know, I feel like I'm left holding the bill of like, why is this wrong? You know, but whatever. I agree with this 1,000,000% though. This is something I super agree with, and that's not even blah blah blah. Let's just keep going. I can understand the worry about the framing. Wait, was there something in here? Brum, brum, brum. Oh yeah, and this is kind of what I just said of like Eris is shown to be obsessive, blah blah blah, and that's especially in the light novel chunk we read, because we read that one Eris POV chapter. Like if we look at just the anime. It's definitely there. It's just more subtext, right? Well, I don't know how true that even is. It's just we getting into the light novel like Eris POV really hammers that home. But so yeah, I agree with you. The thing though is like, I don't know. That's something we see with a lot of character, or like at least I just think back to Lilio, right? Where it's like, is it bad to be obsessive with Rudy? You know, is it bad for Eris to feel this way towards Rudy, or can you say like, well, she loves the guy? Maybe it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, what are the flaws of this thing, you know? I would love for the show to explore that. That'd be so sick, you know? Like, and maybe it will. And that's why I'm really apprehensive, but also excited. Or not apprehensive, but like, I'm a little worried, but I'm also really excited for Eris to be reintroduced, because there are so, like, having time away from Rudy, I think can really give her, like, a clarity or, like, a deeper understanding of her own attachment to Rudy, which would be so sick to see unfold, right? So, yeah, hopefully we'll see some really cool stuff with that development, and then that can be used as like a retrospective, or like we can use that piece of information in retrospect to help judge the scene, or like the Rudy Eris sex scene, you know? But yeah, so that's cool. True. This, I really appreciate some of the info to refresh. Sylvie can use incantation as healing. Didn't even think about that. That is super true. She was doing all the wind magic, but I didn't even think that she knew healing. But yeah, 100%. Healing herself with the poison, because we saw her like doing something. That makes her like low-key better than Rudy in that one specific thing. That's kind of hype. I kind of like that, you know? Bro, she can do... What could you do with silent healing? I mean... You could repair your own throat tube if someone goes chop, like Orsted did to Rudy, so he couldn't heal himself. Like you could do that, but like I don't know. It's just whenever that's why I love magic systems, man. You give somebody like a fun way to play with it. It's like, ooh, what does this open? What opportunities does this give us? I was not at all paying attention to what Luke and Ariel were saying at the beginning, so I'm gonna rewatch that again with the context of them talking about tits. So. Okay, that's crazy to me, but sure. Luke is basically Paul 2.0, and Ariel is bisexual and often gets very dominant. She's, like, this is just crazy to me. I'm pretty sure she's 12. Isn't she 12? Bro, that's a noble. Hey, that's a noble in this world. I was about to say, what are they, like, Astarians or something? Asurians, or... I don't know the proper like titling of their nobility, but yeah, just leave it to nobles, I guess. It wouldn't be too out of character for Ariel to actually do something to Sylphie in that scene, funnily enough. I don't know if I would say funnily enough. No, I'm just playing. Okay. True. I'm sorted on that. Fitz has magic items. I didn't even know we had magic items in this show. Have we? I don't think we've ever seen. Have we ever had a magic item in the show, like explicitly shown? We have, like, the staff, but that's, like, a channeling of magic, you know? Which is different than, like, there's, like, to me, like, a magic staff is different than an enchanted item in terms of, like, a consequence in world building, right? Because it's, like, okay, if I can enchant an item, then... Because, like, let me say it this way. A magic staff is only useful for someone that can cast magic. But an enchanted item would be useful for anybody, right? So it'd be like, oh... If there's only magic staves in the world, or whatever, staves, whatever. If there's only magic staffs in the world, then that's just a way for, like, magicians to do their thing, for, you know, mages to do their thing. But if we throw in swiftness boots, obscuration disguise self, freaking blah, 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 you know, a bunch of buffing items, then it's like, oh, throw that on Ghislaine, throw that on Ruijerd, throw that on Paul. Like, that gives the marshals of the world, like, a magical... an ability to use magic, right? In a sense, because they're able to use magic items. So, That's cool. If real, big cool. But yeah, so magical equipment. Have we seen that before? I kind of feel like we have not. I'm trying to like run through every there's been like a few cloaks or whatever, but I don't think they had any properties. But yeah. Darius and the Slave Assassin was very censored in the uncensored version, or it's much more graphic and disturbing in the novel. I'm good. You know what? Okay. Recommend Ghost in the Shell. I've never seen Ghost in the Shell. That's always kind of been on my list. I did read some of this. That's why I said you treat him too harshly at some points. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we've talked about that a million times, so I'll withhold. His body is also an additional hurdle on his way to becoming a better person. Yeah. I mean, I already mentioned that earlier, so I won't go into it again. This here, what did I have on this? Oh yeah. So I see what you mean. This is let me just read a couple chunks and respond to them in bits. I realize that most critiques and hate on this show seems to come from this okay, wait, run it back. A very important point is that Mushoku Tensei discourse going around is that I realize that people are expecting Mushoku to set an example or send a message. I realize that most critiques and hate on this show seem to come from this logic. As you said in the beginning of this video, quote, that's a weird message to be telling a lot of people, end quote. Let's use that. And so the comment here is saying that the problem lies in expecting Mushoku Tensei to educate or teach society. Yeah. And it's very weird because I don't see most people that complain about the show complaining much about anything else that has kind of similar subjects. And so, yeah. This, to me, I hear what you're saying. I feel like there's two reasons that I there's a reason that I somewhat disagree, but it's kind of I don't know how strong of a disagree it is, with Mushoku Tensei. And then the other thing is what is media? What is storytelling? What purpose does storytelling hold? Of which my approach for shows, for stories, for media in any form, I think is probably different than at least the perspective here. So let me start with the first thing of why are people pushing Mushoku Tensei the responsibility to be this moral example? Mushoku doesn't have to send any message to no one. Sure, the reason that I feel like to some degree it's trying to, and it's kind of said so here as well, right? Where Rudy is a character. It's Rudy's change and growth is the story, right? We're shown problematic things, which include self-hatred, which include all this anxiety and shame, which include the borderline or even past the border pedophilic behavior that Rudy sometimes demonstrates or whatnot. We're shown all these things, and then we're kind of a large part of the story, and honestly, I would say probably the crux of the story is Rudy's growth and dealing with the issues, right? Because as much as we have the fantasy world kind of that's doing its thing in its own way, I feel like the heart of the show is with Rudy and his development, right? And maybe the heart can move, right? And I think maybe I'm trying to shift, for my personal watch, I'm trying to shift the heart a little bit, away from the development stuff. But point being, I do think a very large part of the show is attempting to, not necessarily, it's an example. For what reason is there an example, right? Is it an example for a moral example? I don't know. You can ask the freaking author. Why are you even writing this story? I haven't seen enough Game of Thrones to be able to comment on that. But yeah, we're following his growth. So to then say okay, is his growth realistic? Which would be a point of good writing or not? And then a B, is this growth something that is a powerful message that people can feel inspired by or learn from or whatnot, just gain a positive benefit from? If the story does have growth that's really, really pogged and applicable to people and then they feel inspired, that to me is a huge win for storytelling, right? Yeah, and I feel to some degree it's attempting to do that. But maybe but the longer the show's going on, I feel it's not full sending it as much as I would expect it to. And the focus is, in different areas, which is fine. Because then it's let me go back to this comment, right? Mushoku doesn't have to send a message to no one. Yeah, and like me, I don't think that a requirement to be a good story. Well, I don't think a requirement to tell a story is to send a message. You don't need a moral with every story, right? You can just have a story that's fun, if that's what you're going for, right? Like, to me, when we're dealing with the things that we're dealing with, I don't know. Okay. Let me just be clear instead of bouncing around my words. When we're dealing with things like molesting children or watching children bathe or this complicated situation with Eris and Rudy or all this mental trauma, blah blah blah, all these like sensitive subjects, if our goal hypothetically isn't to send a message but it's just straight entertainment value, because I'm assuming that's like the other, like, yeah, right here, this is under the label of entertainment, not education. If we're just doing it for full entertainment value, then, like, I'm not sure how I feel about having, like, these sexual exploits and deviancies and such being used, like, as entertainment. I mean, for me personally, I don't find that very entertaining, like, on, like, a surface level, like, on just, like, watching this casually without trying to pry into, like, what it's trying to say and, like, without trying to pry into its elements. But just if I were to give it a more passive run, I don't think watching Eris and Rudy do their thing would make me be like come out of the episode being like, what a good episode, you know? That'd make me come out of the episode being like, what did I just watch? Why am I spending my time doing this, you know? Which is why let me be clear, that is a personal thing, right? But then there's like the question to me, and this again goes into all the message stuff. Well, kind of it goes into like the like respect that I try to give to sensitive subjects, right? And I've talked about this before, of like, if you're gonna bring in these crazy, controversial, sensitive, whatever topics, then that raises my bar, or like the bar to entry for your story to be good. That raises my standards rather substantially, because if you're gonna play with fire, then you gotta be careful, right? Like, if you're gonna play with these themes, then like, and I feel like an extra layer of nuance is required, because if not, and you just kind of like F it we ball and like don't like give it the nuance or thought that is required, then it's like, what, you're just throwing in these crazy, in the real world, very serious elements for fun, you know? It's like, oh, let's just molest someone and it's entertaining, you know? Like, I'm not a huge fan of that, like, as a concept, you know? Which is why I'm like, okay, for my own, like, way of approaching the show, it's been these elements, these, like, problematic or serious elements, are, like, this isn't something that I can enjoy at a face level, right? This isn't something that's just like, oh, let me just blah, blah, blah. So let me, like, dig into what it's saying and immerse within the darker or like more serious themes and follow it there, right? But then in doing so, you know, there's been a bit of there's been some like, you know, getting a little stuck in the tunnel every once in a while. Scraping my arms, you know, skin is peeling off. I'm blistering a little bit as I'm scraping through the tunnels, right? So yeah, if we, like, TLDR, if it's done for the point of entertainment, I'm not sure if these elements are, at least personally, good for entertainment, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's not like I would want this, like, banned, right? It's not like, this is an evil story and we must destroy it, because, you know, creative freedom. Like, I'm so down with creative freedom. It just, to mini tangent, it goes into, and I think I talked about this on the really long episode, but I don't quite remember. Of like, you can have a story that is just does a bunch of horrible things, and horrible not in bad writing, but horrible as in like morally dubious or just like troubling or whatnot. Like, that's not hard to do, you know? Like, throwing a serious element into a story doesn't make your story better if you don't handle it well, right? Like, and the example that I think I gave, and I'll just quickly repeat, is like, I read a story, it was basically just, let's torture somebody, be super graphic with it, and then have a horrible twist that makes everything feel a lot worse, and it's just basically the story emotionally is, all it's trying to do is emotionally stab you in the gut over and over and be like, despair, 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 and then it kind of is like, that's the story. And that, to me, I came out of that story being like, well, I feel horrible, like, I feel despair, so it did its job, but why? Like, what did I gain out of this other than a bunch of despair, you know? So, like, if we are to say that it's just for the purpose of entertainment, then like the emotions that it's bringing in, of like these muddy conflicts and like the kind of some, I don't know, all the stress or whatever, it's like I don't know if that to be is something that I would consider valuable on an entertainment level. But again, that's a pretty like personal thing. At least that's just, well, everything I say is based off my own personal biases, okay? That's not, what am I trying to discount my own idea? No, okay, yeah. But yeah, I do kind of hear what you're saying of like, this isn't necessarily a roadmap to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like, and then there was something else. And I do appreciate the clarification of not complaining. I do appreciate that. And I like this as well, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make somewhat. Where am I stupid? Where is this freaking thing? Here it is. Sorry, it took me a second. So in a sense, I agree that it's wrong to view Mushoku Tensei as the handbook on how to turn your life around, but to completely disregard the positive message of MT would also be wrong, I think. I would agree with that. Like, I think, and it's not even necessarily disregard the positive message, but disregard the show attempting to put out some sort of message. Because I feel like it is trying to do that, but it's just not full sending it to the degree that I would expect or almost desire it to. And instead is just like kind of throwing it out and then focusing on other elements or whatever. But, you know, like, I don't know, relying a lot more on subtext, maybe you could say. I don't know. But then this point of, this is the comment saying, I also agree that fiction should never be seen as a guide for real life, even if it is written in the most realistic way possible. That I disagree with. And that's because of the way I view media, you know? Because to me, the stories, media, whatever, things you consume, but most specifically with stories, they're like opportunities to explore ideas, to explore situations that otherwise you either couldn't explore because they're fictitious or are exploring in some sort of like hyperbolic way, right? So like, oh, if I'm in my real life, I need to navigate. I like even this example. Like if I want to like pull something very specific, the whole Rudy Eris thing, right? Where it's like a lot of my parsing through that show has kind of more fleshed out my idea of like what is okay consent, what is the consequence of sex, can somebody that is in a certain mental like traumatized situation, to what degree can they give consent, blah 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 blah. Those questions are things that the show brought up to, you know, and then I guess kind of passed to me to largely untangle. And so, but like I think that the realizations or the kind of thoughts that have come out of that can be used for real life, right? Because if we're not using it, should never be seen as a guide for real life. Not at all. Like I would say that that's the power of fiction, is that you can use it to explore different ways to approach life, right? Eris's freaking headstrong, Giga Chad, move forward personality. Like I don't know, if you're somebody that is like overcome with insecurity and anxiety and whatnot, maybe seeing Eris and the way she handles the world and being like, dang, she really just kind of like, all this happens and she keeps moving forward. Like if that's inspiring to you, then you can use that and be like, okay, let me try to do that now, right? That to me is like such a amazing power of fiction. So I wouldn't want to say that can never happen. Whether we want to say that needs to happen, you know, does the show have to send a message? Not necessarily, right? It doesn't have to intend to send a message, though just by existing, is it sending a message? Maybe just by existing it's sending a message. Like I would almost want to even say that you can't just not send a message, right? But yeah, it's the intent. It's the intent that I'm really kind of focusing on when it comes to actually critiquing. But yeah, so that to me is like what makes fiction and even like just stories in general so powerful. And it even goes beyond that, right? Where it's like as much as it can be used as a way to explore, you know, certain ideas, certain emotions, certain ways to approach life, certain situations that are complicated. It can also, like, fiction can be used for release, you know, like, oh, I don't know. What if you just feel like you want to cry, right? You have like an emotional dam built within you or some sort of emotional thing going on in your life and you want some outlet for that. Okay, let me watch, I don't know, Rudy and Paul reconciling, And that to me is like, oh, like I'm getting to actually feel these emotions that like it's helping me process emotions that are within myself, right? Like, I don't know. That kind of stuff is so popular. Like, oh, like I feel alone. I feel like I have no friendship. Let me watch Rudy make these friendships and grow. Like now it's like I'm getting to kind of live and like experience that and be like, okay, maybe, and then maybe we can take it a step further and start to apply it. So that to me is the core of what makes media so powerful, is that A, it can be a guide for real life, and B, it can be an outlet for things experienced in real life. The just surface level entertainment value is to me almost even less important. Like it's important and it is valuable. I wouldn't want to say less. I guess I would say it's just another importance, right? As much as it can be used for a guide or as for a way to explore ideas, as much as it can be used for emotional like catharsis, it can also just be used for straight up entertainment value, because guess what? People like to have fun, and maybe reading the story or watching the story, or any story for that matter, is just a fun way to experience the, being alive, and that's valuable as well. But yeah, I would say just more, or you know what I mean, where like it can do this, and I think should is an interesting question. Does it have to send a message? I don't know. I think just by existing, it does send a message, and I would say that to every show. And so when it comes to, especially if you're going to deal with sensitive themes, and it's like, okay, well, they were written into the story. And so if your purpose for writing it into the story is just for entertainment value, which I wouldn't say it is for Mushoku Tensei, but like, let's say it's just to make the story more fun and you're not actually trying to parse through it at all, that tells the world something about how you view these themes, that they aren't that they don't need to be parsed through, and that they can be thrown in for fun, that kind of stuff. But that's kind of escaping into a bunch of hypothetical, or like a bunch of freaking meta, like the meta of storytelling. What should storytelling be? What should storytelling not be? Blah 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 blah. And I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, which is why I've spent any amount of time on it. And I think that's largely where my scraping of the wall with Mushoku Tensei has been. So I guess I felt kind of important to bring up. For this, let me clarify. Okay. Let me clarify my clarification, because I didn't even get anywhere with that. No, I appreciate the comments, right? No, because the reason I like, if I spend 3.5 hours yapping, it's because I care about what people are saying and I want to respond to it, right? So I don't apologize. I enjoy the comments and I appreciate, like, I'm also at fault for writing too many argumentative comments that perhaps weren't written as politely as they should be. No. Like, I appreciate it. Like, if people are saying, like, you're cringe, you don't understand the show, blah, 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 like, that's annoying, right? And I'm obviously not going to be happy with that. But, like, debating, like, civically debating the show and its themes and its application of themes and, like, what it's trying to do and what it's succeeding in, go for it. That's literally kind of why I'm even here, So no, I do appreciate the comments. I don't want people to feel like that they can't talk about the show because I'm, anything like that. But yeah, like, I simply love discussion, so I indulge myself when it comes to arguing about your takes and opinions. Bruh, I love discussion too. That's why I'm here. So don't feel sorry about that. The de-immersion part is more so just, I don't think I can, because I have multiple goals when I'm here watching the show. And what I've usually had as my top goal is immerse in the story and feel it as much as I can and experience it as much as I can, because that's going to sync up my experience with the people watching this, right? Because, like, why does somebody watch a reaction? I could have a whole spiel on that. It's something I've thought about a lot, right? Because your boy used to watch them himself, and then that's why I started doing them, right? So I spent a lot of time being like, why am I watching these? And then I ended up, So one of my main reasons I watch this is to immerse and experience the show and largely try to enjoy the show as much as I can, right? Like, I would hate to come in and hate watch, because who's going to watch a reaction to a show being like, I hate this show, let me watch a reaction? No. I assume the people watching this thing right here are people that enjoy the show or at least find it worse, enjoy the show, or at least enjoy discussion around the show. To which case I would want to have as much positive energy going around as possible. Which is why the de-immersion is coming from, I feel like the way the show is spinning and the way that my experience with the show has been, is causing that, like, that freaking mission statement of enjoying the show, and immersing in the show and, like, in a positive way with the positive energy in mind, that's starting to like fall apart a little bit. Where it's like I don't know, like the way I'm currently approaching the show, like you know, with that kind of Eris, with all that Eris stuff in mind, the way that I'm currently approaching the show, I don't think is a good way to have the positive energy I'm looking for, and also is just causing a lot of like inner being like, oh my goodness, because it's like it's not exactly the most fun conversation to have to talk about like child sexuality and consent. Like that's not. I have that conversation so much already with people, like arguing about like, you know, age of consent, blah blah blah. I've you know, like that's to me a serious discussion. So trying to intermix it, like it's a serious discussion that I don't, you know, it's not like I'm pogging whenever I'm having the conversation. You know, it's something I take seriously. So to mix it in with this like I want to enjoy the show and have a good time, they were starting to clash. So we're going to somewhat de-immerse and pull ourselves away so that I can just enjoy this. Like I'm trying to enjoy the show. So I'm pulling myself out so I can enjoy it on a slightly more surface level instead of trying to go into the crazy themes because I'm starting to feel pain. But yeah, so no. Comments are fine. I mean, unless you're saying, like, F you, you're stupid, you don't understand the show. That's not very nice. I don't appreciate that kind of comment. But actual discussion I will always appreciate. Fits these nuts? So true. You thought you couldn't handle it and committed Sudoku? No, I think there's a call. Yeah, no, I just moved. That's it. No, I won't lie. And it's kind of on to this point. Like, there was, and this has happened on multiple shows before. This happens more frequently than it kind of should, low-key. Well, I don't know about should, but this happens a lot for shows where I immerse in the show and then something crazy happens that has an emotional weight, and then I have to take a few days to, like, deal with it, right? Like, a few real days and real nights, and I lose some sleep and, like, all that kind of stuff. You know, happened with a lot of shows. It happened with probably, like, half the shows we've watched on the channel, low-key. And so it was really happening with the Eris and Rudy stuff, you know? So it was just like, like, I don't know if I'm trying to, dog, I can't be losing sleep. I can't let the show hurt me anymore, man. I can't let it do this to me. But yeah. But is despair good to feel? Maybe those are good emotions to feel. That's why I'm feeling them. But yeah, I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. Lots of stuff. So true. Ariel, the web novel, apparently, yeah, I've heard that the web novel does some crazy stuff. She isn't a Grey Rat, she's an Ashura. Is that the, I recognize that word. Oh, that's the kingdom name. Okay, bet. Yeah. Much worse. This is some Age of Consent stuff, which is like, I mean, the only thing I'd say here is, like, if we're trying to fix it to biology, we would either say 25 or 13 is 14. I mean, it's not either or, right? Like, you can still say 8. Like, why 13, 14? Why not 12? Why not 11 or 10? You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, or why not 18? Like, it's a gradient, you know? And so we're choosing a line on the gradient, and it is somewhat arbitrary to just pick a spot, but, like, that's why we try to use certain markers of, like, maturity or whatever, right? So, like, I wouldn't say it has to be 25 or 13, because... yeah, like there's a lot of biological developments in between. The other thing you brought up is preparedness. Nobility were groomed for their positions, and within the time period, having a family is the goal. Young girls were raised when they expected enough. I mean, agreed, yeah, and that's exactly what happened, which is why it's like so crazy to me. Nobility were groomed for their positions, right? Because it's almost like just random. I'll make it just a little short idea of like. Is it Rudy, like Rudy didn't necessarily groom Eris, but could we say that, like, I'm not trying to, like, the words aren't going to make a ton of sense, you know, I'm being not very careful with my wordage, but, like, was Eris groomed by her family, and then Rudy, like, knowingly indulged in the groomed person? You know what I mean? Where even if he's not the one that does the grooming, if he willingly indulges in a groomed person, then, like, to what degree is that better or worse or the same? That's a question we could throw out. If we were to say that she was groomed and if we were to say that he was knowledgeable about that thing, which I would say probably to some degree yes for both of those, but I won't get into that. And then yeah, I'm also at the age where a bunch of people that I know are like starting to get married and have kids, and it's just like that's kind of crazy to me, like low key, you know. And yeah, so that's I feel that for sure. I have to avoid looking at him as a child in my mind, and we got to see Eris as a child. But it's like, how much has she grown up? How much has she become more of an adult, especially with her codependency with Rudy? Also, I haven't heard of this. idea. It's either copium or if it's part of the story, then it needs to be said in the story. But it's just kind of that's a crazy idea. But if you're gonna make the years and days longer, just so that 15 is actually 18, like, no, like then just make it, then just call it 18. Like, why are we calling it 15? Or like, I feel like at that point you're just trolling. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you could, like, what benefit is that to the world building of like, guess what? You're actually 1.1x your age. Like, okay, that just makes it complicated, man. Like, what is the point? But yeah, I'm not sure if that's true. And you say it right here. I'm not sure if it's true or not. If it is true, then that would change some things for sure. Derogatory, so real. Pip isn't Pip. We fixed that. So yeah, let's jump into the little looky look for episode 0. One thing we're gonna do here for sure is rewatch the beginning part where apparently they're talking about boobies. I need to hear that dialogue, man. Oh, I'm just gonna enjoy the dialogue. Okay. So yeah, let me just cut to where that is. Right here. Because, dude, I was not paying attention to what they were saying at all because I'm too busy paying attention to Sophie falling out of the sky. Like, I don't care about some nobles yapping about noble stuff. Sophie is falling to her death. Sophie is falling to her death and you're talking about tits? That's not, you know what I mean? A lovely pink with a blush of orange. I must say... Cherry blossom pink and standing tall. Tucked away within have their own charms. Agree to disagree on that one. I don't really get that. You don't mind them inverted then? That's ridiculous. That's so stupid. What more could I ask for? What a crazy conversation for Sophie to airdrop into, man. Yeah, do they just move on to another conversation? Is that literally it? Okay, dude. Yeah, they literally just move on. She has a base take, though. That's actually a base take. What she said of, like, what'd she say? Cherry pink standing tall? That's, okay. I can agree. Luke, L take, inverted, not my thing. But you know what? Agree to disagree, Luke. Hey, that just means you get those and I'll get mine. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you don't like Dr. Pepper, more for me. It's that same philosophy, okay? You don't like X? Well, I like Y. So guess what? We can be friends. Like, we can be even better friends because we're not fighting over the same resource. It's that simple. So this is actually power trio into duo, into trio. Because the guy dies and then Sophie takes the place. Okay, dude. Sophie, you are nude. Is that, dude? She definitely stripped Sophie for her own pleasure, low-key. That's crazy to me. 12-year-olds be wild in this world. That's nobility. That's the nobility. I mean, it's as we know them. She is 12, right? Here's Pillimon. Look, he doesn't look like Paul at all. Look at him. I also thought he would be like, because he's the head of the Notos branch. I was expecting him to be more of a Giga Chad, like in charge of the stuff, right? But no. He's having to like pay respects to the queens, which makes a lot of sense given our additional context with the philosophy, or not the philosophy, with the politics. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm not trying to bash that, but yeah, was not this was not my mental image of his character like at all. So this has been we've gotten to know him a bit better. The important thing is Paul brother, Eris concubine. He has two of the Eris. He has the two Eris brothers with him. Does he not? Wait, is Luke one of Eris's brothers? Wait. Yeah, because Pillimon's the... Wait, that might not be true. Because the only reason I say that is we don't know how Luke was raised. Like, was Luke raised... You know what I mean? Because it's like, if Luke was raised, being told that he was Pillimon's son, then he might think that Pillimon's his actual dad, where in actuality he's like Philip's son or something. You know, I don't know if that's, when he says he's my father, what exactly that entails. If it means by blood or not, you know, by like direct lineage or not. So, I don't even, no, in the timeline would line up because I think Luke is a little bit older than Eris overall. He seems like, I don't know his age, but I would guess that I think the timeline would line up there. So maybe Luke is a Eris brother, is a Boreas kid that then got like merged so much within the family that he's referring to Pilimon as his father, or Pilimon has two more kids in the back chamber, ready to bam, bam, Boreas, bam, Boreas again, bam, draw 4. You know what I'm saying? So something to keep in mind. Do not forget our appointment. Scrumptious cake. Yeah, Grabel's terrifying when it comes to politics. He kind of rolls and smokes this entire conversation, as that comment kind of explained. And then Clutch with the singing. Guarding Her Highness. Making moves. She has placed agents among the Knights and Guards. Yeah. There's just a lot of the political stuff. I feel pretty okay on this stuff. I got all the names. Clutch that Sophie was sleeping there. I do wonder how long this assassin girl was there. Probably just a good couple seconds, but I do still think that she had a hesitation, or at least a bewilderment to a degree. Maybe I'm just projecting, but like I don't know what I'd be projecting, but like I don't know. That's just a cool concept to me. And Sophie's cracked. What a good bodyguard. I will hire Fitz as my own personal bodyguard. Hey, Fitz, wait, no. Listen to me. You can be my bodyguard, and I won't even pressure you into anything crazy like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be saying, like, I want you to get to know me. Yeah, I'm not, like, we're good. You know what I'm saying? It's a better deal. I will pay you just as much, which is 0, because you're doing it out of friendship now, which is adorable. Yeah. But yeah, Fitz is basically Giga Chad. Going off into the wilds, probably up to the Magic University, though we will see. Maybe there's like other cities, politic areas up there. Honestly, let's jump into episode 1. The Broken-Hearted Mage. I already know its title. Oh, my Rudius Grey Rat. How depressed are you about to be? Man, I'm actually kind of excited for this Rudy. I feel like this Rudy could be pretty spicy when it comes to the trauma. Pretty spicy when it comes to this coming out of this experience. So yeah, episode 1. I say let's get this going in a 3, a 2, a 1, bang! Okay. The last shot of him we saw was walking into that blizzard, right? I feel like it, or maybe it wasn't a blizzard. Well, I don't remember. I'm forgetting. Now focus up. I think it was. Or at least into, like, the fog, right? Into the unknown. Who are you? Who are you, woman? I mean, this isn't the Labyrinth City, so it's not Zenith. I don't know who it is. And who uses a bow? Rudius! Oh, it's Rudy. Okay. I recognize that staff anywhere, bro. Okay! The cold open. Who are y'all? Just some hitchhikers doing their thing. North. You just break your own arrow, girl? Yo, calm down. Sarah and Suzanne? Oh, Eris. He just thought of Eris. That's crazy. They're alike? Dang. Nope. Roxy do, though. Alright, shout out Suzanne. 3 great magical nations. Renoa. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's an entire different kingdom? Okay. Neris. Going to Bash. Okay, very interesting. I didn't realize that that was a new political area to that degree. That the central continent is so divided politically. Ooh, I like that gate. Some amber, some crystals. Dang. It's kind of sad how they're a group and Murdy's just alone. Dog, don't overpay. Money's okay. That's okay. Oh my goodness. Not the hair. Not the hair, bro. Good. I was about to say snap out of it. Thank you. Yeah, you didn't get out of bed just to get into another bed, dog. Good stuff. Good stuff, Rudy. Yeah. Let's check out some taverns. I'm curious if we're going to randomly run into Sylphie. I could see that happening. Because I think Sylphie's in the same region. Maybe he'll like see her name somewhere, but I don't know. We'll see. Wow. It's kind of a step. Yeah, he's got to steal himself. Ouch. We solo practitioner now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Panic attack? What's going on, dog? Hey, hey, hey. What is he reaching for? The hair? That's crazy if he reached for the hair. What was that? Hello? Suzanne? Question mark? Hey, what's good? What was in his pocket? He's also just cracked. So low-key he could handle it, depending on what it is, you know? I'm very curious how he'll respond. Yeah, that would make sense to me, but if can he get pressured into it is the question, right? That guy looks like Ruijerd, bro. That guy looks like Geese. I'm tripping. This guy with green hair? Okay, dude. Uh, This Sarah girl is so funny. What is she doing? Okay. Give me more grog. Give me more ale. Bro, what is he in this Sarah girl? What's about to happen with this Sarah girl? Is he rebound crushing? That'd be so crazy. He has like a rebound relationship with Sarah. That'd be crazy to me. What are you grabbing onto in there? Is that the hair? What is that? Oh, you think so? Hmm? Seven great powers? Yeah. You can do it. Good handshake. Good handshake. Come on. Okay. Suzanne, chill with it though. Suzanne's already my favorite. Look at her go. She's good. Perfect person to like help out Rudy right now. You know, throwing out invitations but not taking it personally when they're declined. Good move. Counter arrow. Counter arrow. Okay. Oh, y'all more a group dynamic, not like a dictatorship kind of deal. Timothy. You can cast one fire spell. Heard. Mimir. Patras. Oh, she actually replied. Loki wasn't expecting her to. Yeah, learn to be friendly. Come on, people skills, Sarah. True. True. Dude, Suzanne is the best sub-leader I've ever seen. Oh, ow, and Ghislaine. Ow, 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 ow. That's brutal. She kind of is like Ghislaine a little bit. I didn't even think about that. Whew. I wonder if it'll be like a similar dynamic where like Brody's super OP, Sarah gets like, you know, feels inferior. Like if anything like that'll blossom. We'll see. Rudy, eat the food. It's a yummy stew. They made it a piece for you. Girl, you don't know my combat ability either. But what about my combat ability? Maybe I'm cracked. Hey, guess what? While I'm out in the field, I am part of the party. Okay? Because I'm a contractor. I'm doing contractor work for your squad, okay? Counter arrow. Sarah, come on. That's okay. Is that the healer? Who is that? No, that's that guy, the magician. I think Timothy. Was a teacher in my school days. Okay, cool. So somebody... Okay, that's... I like that. I like that. Good info. Good info. Whoa. That was pretty edgy, Rudy. We take it, though. I get it. Oh, is that their cubs? Or are those adults? Those might be adults. They're like penguins, conserving body heat. Bro, just imagine if Rudy drops a nuke on him, and that's just the end of the fight. Okay, now this guy drops the nuke. Good, good. Good shot. He's just spamming. Whoa, Rudy, what's going on? Are they burrowing? Are there burrowing creatures? What's the deal? He's got earth magic, so he might be able to sense it better or something. Are they digging through the mud? Oh no, it's a different kind. Okay. Oh, they're terrifying. No, okay. No, it's just the mud. Girl, do you have your bow out? Notch an arrow. Wow, he could use his eye to predict his teammates' movements to not shoot them in the back. That would be kind of a cool thing. Rudy! No. Yeah, like, now's not the time. Come on, man. Suzanne had such a good read on him when she said, like, he's just ready to die, kinda. He's definitely half-hearted. Or broken-hearted, Omega lol. Nice! Nice, good shot. Dude, it's so troll that these mages have to be spamming their words constantly. That's so funny. That'd be so annoying in a fight to have to do that. He's like disassociating mid-fight. Dude, look at Sarah go! She's Legolas. Suzanne! Good shot. Yeah, help him, help him. Dude, she's meleeing with arrows. Camaraderie. They're not going to leave each other behind. Did they just succeed? I think we're actually good. Yeah! Oh, there's more. Just kidding. He's about to show why he's the main character. He's about to pull it out. Okay, here it comes. Oh man, the snow melting. Suzanne, wake up. You're gonna want to see this, Suzanne. Thank you, Rudy. It's actually a nuclear bomb. It's doing a mushroom cloud. That's what we're looking for, Rudy. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Other guy spamming his, like, freaking junior level pew, 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 Exodus Flame, Exodus Flame. Just throw you Rudy in. That's my boy. Oh, can we eat them? Yes! Oh, we gotta get their pelts. Are their pelts worth a lot? Or, like, proof for the quest? That guy's already skinned in the back. Nice. Is that from the blood? Or do you... What's going on there, man? Yeah, like do some work to get your mind off of things, you know? Let me just skin some animals. Do some adventuring. Yeah. Aw. There's that handshake. Dude, Sarah's looking the other way. Yeah, you need to apologize a bit. Now that you've seen how strong I am, let's talk. Thank you. You're welcome. Bro, I'm still thinking about that shot of Eris and Ghislaine when they were walking away. That shot went hard. Y'all are racist? Or like, nationalist or whatever? Drinks for everyone? Good move. Good move! Good move! Yeah, I can't be mad at me for buying y'all drinks. What is it, Counter Arrow? Yeah! We're Counter Arrow. And we're good people. And Rudius. Yes, sir. Perfect. Perfect maneuvering. Yeah. Rudius. Hey. That's the squad goals. See? You can make connections with people. You're not stuck to the first one you make, bro. Good stuff. You just gotta party with some homies, man. That it's not an instant cure-all, obviously, but like, no, good stuff. Good stuff. Rudius is, dude, he's in it right now. He's in it right now. If you have a chair alone in your room staring at a fireplace, not even looking at the fireplace, looking at the roof, you're in it. I've never seen someone so deep in it. Is that the Holy Relic? You came in clutch, though. You made it work. Good stuff. True! Because, yeah, didn't he say that while he was being all sad? Hey, Roxy! It's like gratitude, you know? You have something to fight for. You got people that you have, that you can lose, you know? Shout out Roxy. Oh, Norna, Paul, Aisha, Lilia, Rui Jerd, Sylphie. And you haven't even, like, I know you think you lost to Eris, but that's just because y'all are bad at talking to each other. Like, you know, she'll come back one day. That's gonna be so crazy when she does. But, yeah, like, even if you did lose her, even if she said, you're a hoe and I'm gone, like, you got other people, you know? That's why a good networking, good networking. Rudy networking diff. Are you gonna burn it? Yes! Yes! I like that. That's pretty based. Press on. Real one. Thank you, Rudy. The Roxy ending! The Roxy ending is real! The Roxy ending is real. We can make it. We can do it. Please, Rudius, please. Let me put this all back on. I got too excited. Okay, so, man, are we gonna be able to see these people again, or are they just gonzo? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, I like this squad. Especially, dude, Suzanne, actually, based woman. We'll probably stick with them for like 1 or 2 more episodes, and then... Oh, because guess what? No, I figured it out. I've solved the entire rest of the season. Just like that. No. If only it was that easy. No, but we're introducing as, what, like, Counter Arrow and Rudius. That could be a way for Sylphie to hear about Rudius and being like, oh, like, this guy, like, people are talking about, oh, Rudius? I know a Rudius, and I'm looking for Rudius. Boom, that's the connection, right? So perhaps by being lauded as that, that'll be a way for Sylphie to connect. So, well, maybe we spend a couple episodes with these guys, maybe one, maybe 2 more, and then Sylphie shows up. That'd be kind of pogged. Sorry. Fitz shows up. That'd be kind of pogged. Where was that shot of them? I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I think it's right here. Of Sylphie, or of Eris. Right here. Ouch! Ouch. It's like a breakup. I mean, it's literally like a classic breakup, right? You see her everywhere. See them anywhere. You know, because it could be, you know. But like, for me, it's like, oh yeah, I see her everywhere. You know, that kind of thing. So funny. Because I'm straight. That's the point. But yeah. Yeah, that's just such classic. Poor Rudy. Because this is his first, like, relationship in that way, right? That has, like, a romance or, like, sexual angle. Though, honestly, more of a romance thing with, like... Because he even was like, hey, my girlfriend, right? So, it's like he got dumped. Right when he got a girlfriend, he got dumped immediately. But, yeah, like, remembering that's like, dude, there's so much more to life than that, you know? Like, there's other relationships, there's other people I care about, you know? And then even, man, I like how it's... What he sees is the bonds that all these people have with each other, right? Because it's not even just Sarah and Suzanne, right? It's all these people chose to stay here and fight because Suzanne was like, I'll be the decoy, right? But then they said, no, we're all staying. We're fighting together. Like, it's ride or die with us all, right? So we're here as a group, right? And I feel like that was like for Rudy, it's like, oh yeah, I'm so much more than just one relationship. Like, I'm here with a group too. Even if they're not here with me, like, they still matter, and I still should be alive for them, right? To help them, and because they would miss you if you're gone, Rudy. I don't know if you're, like, self-hates, you know, I don't know how far you are along that route of, like, not only do I have, like, not only is it that I care about them and that I can help them, but it's like, they would be so heartbroken if you're gone, right? Like, if it was revealed that Rudy died... I mean, Paul is sobbing. Roxy is sobbing. Sylphie's probably crying too. Zenith, if we rescued her, she's sobbing too. So it's not even just I have a job to do. It's I have a job to do and people care about me. Like, I have value, so I can't just throw my life away, right? And I don't think he's quite there yet necessarily. Like, I don't know if he's fully, like, internalized that at all. But just in terms of, like, reminding him that there's so many more people than just Eris, that's clutch. That's clutch. Because, man, he was talking so emo. These skills won't bring my loved ones back. Like, I get it, man. Hey, you're in the pits. And that's like, that same thing, bro. You do not sit alone in your room staring at the ceiling unless you're in it. Unless you're real in it. Yeah, so that's pretty fire. And then, yeah, that shot of, like, the projection of his past life on the wall, I liked that quite a bit, too. Burning the hair, good move. I like that move. But I've got to remember that I've had it worse. True. Wandering around after getting kicked out of your house and then getting hit by a truck. I mean, that's not great. Not a great way. Yeah. It's just a shame because now it's like they have Rudy and Eris have such different expectations of their relationship when they meet up again, or if they meet up again. Where Eris is gonna be like, "I'm finally strong enough, and now he's my boy Rudius, and we can be husband and wife now." And Rudius is gonna be like, "You broke up with me. I've moved on. I'm with Roxy now." You know, so that's gonna be insane to see. However that plays out. Because he's literally doing the symbolic burning of the hair as, like, the burning of, like, the mental ram she's taken up in his dome. He's sick of her, you know, being in his head. He's like, wait a second. Man, and that little, like, soft smile. Yeah, I liked the way that Rudius was acting this episode. Just kind of, like, the passion and energy's gone. It's like he's kind of moving forward only through routine. Going complete, like, I don't care anymore in the middle of bears surrounding you. Oof, not the time, but hey, I get it. Like, I get why it's happening, so I'm fine with that. You know, it's just like, hey, we gotta, Rudy, we gotta focus up. But he did focus up, so that's my boy right there. Go to Rudius episode. Him immediately laying down and being like, dude, that's me all the time. Where I'll be like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go to class, and then I'll lay down. I literally did that earlier today, and I lay down in bed, and I sit there for like a full minute, and it's like, oh, fine, I'll go to class, you know? But just, like, you fall into it, and it's like you habitually pull yourself out of it, right? And not even necessarily habitually, but, right, it's just like, you know? That's such an energy right there. I'm not traveling to get over my heartbreak, I need to find Zenith. But also, Rudy, you have to take the time to get over your heartbreak, too, right? Like, you can't, like coping-wise, you know? Just completely ignoring it's not going to do it. You can't just aversion max, right? That's not going to just fix everything. So I feel like having this, like, in engaging in this, like, camaraderie, I feel like, yeah, like, man, there's something about doing something with your hands. Not that kind of thing. Calm yourself, Rudius. I know what you like to do with those. But no, there's something about doing, like, work. Just, like, but not necessarily in a, like, workaholic way, but just in a, like, let me do something, like, just do something with my hands. Let me do something physical that requires some focus, because like, it's hard for your mind to wander if you're skinning a polar bear and you've never skinned a polar bear before. It's like, okay, I have to focus on this, right? And just get your mind off of it because you're busy with this task at hand. I think that's a good way to get out of your own head for a little bit. And so I thought that's like I don't know, like, I relate to that too, you know? Oh, man, I could go on so many tangents about this type of behavior, because or, like, you could even, like, to knock on a tangent, but just, like, exercise, you know? That's kind of a tangentially kind of part of this, where it's like, you know, and there can be a lot of different ways that exercise is a coping mechanism, because it can also be, like, just, like, pushing your body, you know, in like a catharsis of just, like, screaming or whatever. But, and whereas this is different, where it's more like I'm at peace doing this work, and I'm like, it's like, because it's like, it's almost like a grounding thing or something of, I feel useless, I feel horrible, I feel all these things, but I've skinned this polar bear, and now I have these furs. And nothing can tell me that I don't have these furs, because I just put in the work and I put these furs in my hands, right? Like, having a physical reward for your behavior of, I put in this time and I got this effort, I think is a very easy, like, way to, boom, value. You know what I'm saying? So, and then even to make it 10 times better, I mean, Clutch counter arrow, he gets to also have an enjoyable experience of being able to not only get the reward for, like, in a very physical and, like, grounded way of, I have, you know, cleaned this corpse, and now I have the benefit of that, I have these furs, but now it's literally I've completed this quest, and we get to party like adventurers a little bit and have a good time, and I get cheered on a bit, and people are patting me on the shoulder, and like, look at my new acquaintances, like, I can form bonds, you know, all that kind of stuff. But this is more something that happened to him because he had literally Suzanne diff, whereas, like, well, I mean, a lot of the sense, not to discount it, like, it's still really positive and really great. Whereas, like, the distinguishment I'm trying to make is that doing something physical that, like skinning a polar bear, or, I don't know, building something, digging a hole that needs to be dug, doing some yard work, building a cabin. That's kind of I won't go on my full tangent, but there's, like, a cabin building thing. But, cabin building arc? What the heck? The lore? No, but, yeah, just, there's something very nice about I think, a physical work. All right, I'm done rambling about that. The black grizzlies? No, it's mud. There's just more of them than we thought. We got hoed. Another pack showed up, it seems. Also interesting that this group of grizzlies is a pack unit, right? Usually bears don't go as packs, in my understanding of bears. More so they, they'll like have like cubs or whatever. Like a mother bear will have her cubs that she'll take care of, but I mean, they're not usually big community things. Like this I said penguin, right? Where they're like sharing body warmth, you know? Like if I'm a bear, I'm hibernating, like with real world bears, right? So it makes me think like, maybe like they're called grizzlies, and so I'm thinking bear, but why do they travel as a pack? Like maybe there's something bigger and scarier out there that they have to be a pack to be safe from, you know? And that's could very well not be the case, and they're just doing it for warmth or whatever, or it's just that's the way they've evolved as more of like a pack animal thing. Totally get that, but it makes me think if there's these scary monster bears and they're as a pack, maybe there's something scarier that's solo, you know? A king of the jungle kind of equivalent. Rudy having a rebound on Sarah would be really funny. Not necessarily healthy. You know, having a, well, it depends on the rebound relationship, but you know, rebound relationships can be pretty crazy a lot of the time. So I could just see it because it's like she's an Eris stand-in, but then also with him burning Eris's hair, like maybe he'll be able to distance from that a lot more. But it kind of depends. Like it'd almost be thinking of if like Sarah is like, dang, he kind of strong. Maybe he do be kind of fun, and she starts making up making moves. I'd be curious how Rudy would respond to that. Yeah, I'm also assuming she seemed younger, so I'd assume the 15-ish age, whereas like Suzanne is like probably like low, like mid-20s. Sarah though seems to be a bit on the younger side. Though it's a lot different with, you know, if something were to happen there, it'd be a way different story than Eris, obviously. So, but we don't need to hypothesize about that because nothing's happened yet. Yeah, no, or ever. We'll see. Yeah, I'm curious on, because we've hit kind of like, he's gone like a boom point of like, okay, we burned her hair. Symbolically, we have closed that thing, but it's like, you know, it's still gonna linger, you know. So I'd be curious if we get some more ramifications. But yeah, interesting. I like this. Good episode. Definitely a W episode. Ooh, I just said W episode. The lingo is slipping in. But yeah, no, I like that episode a lot. Good Rudy moves. Good Rudy moves were made. On to the next episode too. Should be exciting. Of course. If you like the video, subscribe. If you're new, blah blah blah. Comment below if you have anything to say, or join the Discord and talk to me or other Mushoku Tensei fans. There, hit the notification bell as well for a little bing 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 bing, ring ding 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 ding. That's gonna look so bad with my green screen, but hit the notification bell if you want those stream updates, anything like that. Upload notifications. You already know how it goes. But until then, until next episode, that's all for now. I'll be seeing you then. Peace.